Hey everybody, Dirili here. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Hakuouki Demon of the Fleeting Blossom. We are on Harada Sanosuke's route still, and let's see. Yeah, we've been getting closer to him, getting a few more little events and talks with him, which is really nice. He is such a sweetheart. I don't know how to describe him, but yeah, he's a sweetheart, and you know, he just cares about people a lot. Can't really say he's the friendliest, because I think that probably goes to Heisuke. But you know, Heisuke's the young brash guy, and I never go for the young brash types. But Harada is also suave, and I like that. Alright, well anyway, yeah, I'm doing an episode right now because I just finished reading Tori's Route and Office Lover, so I wanted to do an episode at least of Hakuouki in between that character and the next, because it's been a little while since I did an episode. So yeah, let me go ahead and read a bit of this tonight. You can just sit back, relax, and let me read you a story.
Anyway, all I was saying is, there's not really any reason for you to be stuck here forever.
Well, not forever, but as long as I want to be by your side. As long as you'll have me. Oh, well, thank you.
I'm gonna go check up on Kondo then.
Oh yeah, that's right, Kondo was shot.
I wouldn't be too worried though. The guy's so tough, they could probably shoot him with a cannon, and he'd walk away afterwards.
And with that, he turned and left. Leave the Shinsengumi. I honestly hadn't even thought about it for a long time, but he was right. I wasn't one of them. I was an outsider. There wasn't any reason for me to stay, but if I left, where would I go? And how would you protect yourself from the demons? We still had no idea where my father was, and as Sen and Kazuma had told me I was a demon. Could I really go back to my old life knowing that? No, because Kazuma's gonna keep trying to come get you. On the other hand, Kazuma was still after me. If I stayed, he'd be back eventually, and that would mean trouble. What was I going to do? Well, I guess we could go with Sen. It wasn't long before Kondo and Okita were both sent to Osaka Castle to recover. Kondo's gunshot wound was healing slowly, and he needed rest and frequent treatment. Okita was sent away in hopes that a change might help him recover from his illness, which had been discovered to be severe tuberculosis. Or back then they liked to call it the consumption. I caught a glimpse of him as he left, and his face was frighteningly pale. As I watched him leave, I felt my heart sink. It made for a bleak start to the new year. Oh.
Well, Happy New Year. I never thought we'd be welcoming it like this. You're telling me we're probably not going to get any mochi. Those ripple bastards are just inhuman. Oh. I hope nothing happens until after we eat our 7-herb porridge, at least. No kidding.
Harada and Inoue were still talking and warming themselves near the hibachi when Yamazaki ran in.
Inoue, Harada, something's happened. They just opened fire on shogunate troops. What? Are you sure?
Oh, so much for mochi or 7-herb porridge.
So it's finally started, huh? The shogunate army started to move into Kyoto, and the Satsuma opened fire on them. Now there are skirmishes breaking out all over the city. I don't see Saito. Where is he?
He's outside on watch. A sudden roaring explosion shook the magistrate's office, followed by another and another. The constant bombardment left my ears ringing. At that moment, Saito returned.
Saito, what are the Satsuma doing out there? They have cannons set up at the Ryuin Temple. That's where the bombardment is coming from. This is it.
As Saito spoke, I could feel the air in the room tighten. It was suddenly full of faces, much more grim than I had seen in a long time.
Get into formation. We're going out.
Hijikata was already in uniform, his face pulled taut.
At last, those Satsuma bastards are finally going to get what's coming to them.
Well, at least somebody's in a good mood. I looked over at Harada, who was already pulling on his own uniform and headguard. The Satsuma were armed with guns, but the Shinsengumi only with swords and spears. Really, we don't have any guns?
Hey, don't give me that look. It's like you're expecting us all to die out there.
You better not die on me. Don't do it. Live for me. But...
We'll be fine. You know we're badasses, right? Stop worrying so much. Just don't go out of the building, okay? Wait right here.
Yes, sir.
We're moving out. If you're suited up, follow me.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm not suited up, so I can't go. With the shuffling and clanking of armor moving, the men followed Hijikata out of the building, leaving only a few behind to guard the magistrate's office. Every time I heard the sound of cannon fire, my heart leapt into my throat, and I cringed at every scream, wondering frantically if it had come from anyone I knew. As the minutes stretched into hours, I prayed desperately as my mind invented horrible deaths for all my friends. Then, at last, as twilight began to fall in Kyoto, they returned. You're back! Oh, that's not good.
Hey, Chizuru, we're back.
They were dirty and despondent now, a stark contrast to the excitement and vigor on display when they'd marched out. What's the news? Everywhere I looked, I saw uniforms smudged with dirt, dust, and blood. What happened? Did anyone get hurt?
No, we're all right. Shinpachi's division wasn't so lucky, though. They were on the front. Most of his men are dead. It's nothing like fighting with a sword. They can just pick us off with their guns before we even got close.
Oh no. Nagakura had seen his men die. Men who drank with him, sparred with him, and patrolled the streets of Kyoto with him. They'd been his friends, and he'd been forced to watch them die. What could I possibly say to him? Nagakura sighed and gave me a lonely sort of smile.
Don't worry, they were ready for this. It just doesn't really seem fair, though. We didn't even get the Satsumo on the front lines. The Choshu intercepted us. They just rounded up everybody who'd fight. Samurai, townspeople, farmers, whoever. Losing to a bunch of people who aren't even real warriors, that's just a slap in the face to a samurai, isn't it?
That's why guns suck.
We managed to survive, but I don't know if we'll be so lucky the next time we see him. Don't be ridiculous. You're too tough to die, Nagakura.
They were all doing their best to be cheerful, but it was painfully obvious that it was just an act. To think that the once invincible Shinsengumi could be so easily defeated. Outside, the bombardment continued unabated. As night began to fall across the city, Hijikata gathered all the captains together and laid out his plan. Once the sun had fully set, the Fury Corps would head out and attack. In the dark, guns would be harder to aim. Hopefully that would give the Furies a chance to get close. There weren't enough Furies for a large-scale victory, but Hijikata hoped to blunt the enemy's spear at least a little.
Chizuru, don't go outside no matter what happens. I'm sure we aren't the only people thinking about attacking at night. There's a good chance they'll try something too.
Okay, I understand. Be careful. Yamazaki, you look so much cooler in your ninja garb.
You have to stay inside. Don't come out until morning.
Right. I nodded to Yamazaki and headed back inside. Before I had felt so irritated by the fact that there was nothing I could do. Don't I still? No matter how I tried to calm myself down, nothing worked. I couldn't stop thinking about Harada and the others. Would Hijikata's plan succeed? I had just begun pacing when...
Hey, who are you? You're not allowed back here.
Was someone having an argument outside? Is it Kazuma? Taking advantage of the situation.
Ew.
What was that? I ran toward the entrance.
You. Is this really it for guards? None of my business, I guess, but this is just sad.
You! That's what I said. That's what I called him. Shiranoi's connection to the Choshu explained his presence in Kyoto, but what was he doing in the Fushimi Magistrate's office?
Whoa, calm down. Of course, if anybody does hear you, I can just off them as they show up, so I guess getting caught wouldn't be all bad.
As he spoke, he drew something silver from the leather pouch at his hip. A gun. Why are you here? Did you come to kidnap me for Kazuma?
Huh? Oh, you're serious? Don't be an idiot. What makes you think I'd lift a finger for that asshole?
Then why? The corner of his mouth quirked up, and he stared at me intently for a moment. I think it was a coincidence.
Oh, that's my line. What are you doing here? You know you're a demon, right? Humans and demons don't go together.
That's... Wait, you're one to talk. Aren't you working for the Choshu now? Well, I'm working with the Shinsengumi. That's all there is to it. I opened my mouth to continue, but the crack of a gunshot took the breath right out of me. I saw the smoke from Shiranoi's gun and felt the bullet hiss by me to slam into the wall. His voice was suddenly low and threatening.
I'm not doing this for the Choshu. I'm doing it for one guy.
What?
He went and fought even though he was sick, because they cut off his teacher's head for defying the shogunate. He died. Humans die awfully easily, don't they?
He gazed away for a moment, his voice lowering to little more than a murmur. Wait, so there was a human that I actually cared about? I had no idea who he was talking about, but perhaps he was having trouble accepting his friend's death?
He was the only reason I got into all this. I don't care about the Choshu. It doesn't really matter who came out on top at the end at all. This Choshu, Satsuma, Tokugawa, they're all the same to me. Anyway, I guess the Choshu must have gotten tired of me saying that, so they kicked me out.
Oh, are you renegade now?
The same thing's gonna happen to you. Maybe you think you're all buds, but I guarantee they're just using you.
They wouldn't do that.
Fine then. How about you tell me why your friends all went there and left you all alone?
'Cause they went to fight and they don't want me in the middle of it?
Oh, no, wait. It's because they're protecting you, right? Because you're a girl? No, they just think you're a pain in the ass. Hell, they're probably thinking about how they're gonna get rid of you right now.
His words felt like a knife in my heart. Oh, come on. You know better than to take it like that. Suddenly I remembered what Harada had said to me earlier that day.
Shouldn't you be free by now? What's that look supposed to mean? Oh, did your friends already tell you to leave? Didn't figure it out before, did you?
No! No. Harada hadn't said that because he thought I was a nuisance. At least, that's what I thought. No, he wasn't like that. I don't care what you say. I'm not leaving. I'm not a demon. I'm one of them. The words were scarcely out of my mouth when the crack of a second gunshot slammed into my eardrums, and I felt a sharp pain on my chest. My hand flew to it and came away with warm, sticky blood. I barely had time to think about it. However, before the wound began to close, in mere moments it was gone, as if it had never been there to begin with. I couldn't believe it. I didn't want to believe it, but there was no denying that the speed of my healing marked me as something clearly inhuman.
You know what I'm saying is true, right? You're a monster. You don't belong with humans.
Well, I don't belong with you. You're more of a monster than I am. Ugh! I'd had enough. I drew my sword and ran toward him, swinging furiously. I was no swordsman, though, and he easily dodged my attacks. Another gunshot exploded in my face. Then something strange happened. Instead of passing immediately through my head, the bullet slowed almost to a crawl. I could see it move through the air, and I felt my body move instinctively to avoid it. Shiranui grinned.
What? You look so surprised. A demon with your bloodline can dodge a bullet easily.
That means I can go fight with the Shinsengumi. I remembered what Harada and Nagakura had said earlier after returning from battle. The enemy's guns were killing them before their soldiers could even get close. But if I could dodge Shiranui's bullets, then that meant...
You get it? This isn't human. You're not human. You really think your friends are going to stick around once they see that? You're a monster to them.
I could feel hot tears begin to sting my cheeks.
I had a bad feeling, so I came back. Didn't think I'd find you here.
Harada!
Are you alright? Did he hurt you?
No, I'm alright. I'm okay. He nodded, then stood and placed himself between me and Shiranui.
That's funny. You asking her if she got hurt. What's so funny about that? And stop laughing, it's pissing me off. She isn't hurt because she can't get hurt. Stab her and it just heals. This girl is a demon. She's not so pathetic she needs some weak-ass humans to protect her. She might look human, but she's really a monster. You're really sure that's someone, something you want to risk your life to protect?
Every word out of his mouth hit me like a dagger, but even as Shiranui mocked him, Harada's expression didn't change.
We know she's a demon already, so? I don't care what she is. What matters is that she fought with us.
There was no hint of doubt in his voice. He really did see me as one of them. Harada shifted his head slightly and lowered his voice to a whisper that only I could hear.
I'll take care of this guy. You need to run for it.
No, I can help fight too. But if I can dodge bullets, I can help.
No buts. Just get out of here, alright? You're just going to be in my way if you stick around.
I beg to differ. I'm finding my strength. What was I going to do? I'm going to fight. No.
What?
Yes, I'm not going to be an obedient, weak little girl and run away. He's a demon. You can't fight him alone. But maybe if we fight him 2 against 1.
Yeah? You barely even know which end of the sword goes into the other guy. How are you supposed to help me? Just hurry and get out of here. You're only going to get in the way.
Stop saying that! No! For as long as I've been with the Shinsengumi, I've been sheltered and protected. But now at least, it looked like there was something I could do to help. Something only I could do, because Shiranui was right. I'm a demon. I should be able to fight. Harada ground his teeth and glared at me. Yeah, glare as much as you want. I'm helping.
Damn it. Fine, but don't blame me if you get hurt.
I won't. He hefted his spear and charged towards Shiranui with an angry roar.
This is great. 1-on-1 would be way too easy. Not even worth my time. But this...
He flashed Harada a wide grin, pointed his gun and fired off several rounds. None of the bullets hit home, but I could tell he was missing on purpose, gauging his opponent's responses to each shot.
You know what a crossbow is, right? Ever wonder why they never caught on in Japan? What? How on earth does that have anything to do with anything? Are we doing trivia now? A crossbow is great when you're shooting at something that's sitting still, but it's real hard to hit a moving target. Like this!
With that, he leapt forward, his spear raised above his head. Shiranui threw up his arms across his face to block the blow. The silver tip of Harada's spear tore into him, ripping cloth and separating flesh. Blood poured out of the wound.
I don't know about you, but it felt to me like I got all the way down to the bone there. You ought to go find a doctor to take a look at that.
No, keep hitting him! Don't let him go! Get him while he's down!
Idiot. You really think it's that easy to take down a demon?
A smile spread across his face. You should have kept laying into him!
What?
The blood pouring from Shiranui's arms slowed, then stopped. The great gaping wound closed itself up, and before I could have counted to 10 it was gone, as if the cut had never been there.
That was a pretty good hit, though. I think I ought to return the favor.
He laughed uproariously and squeezed the trigger on his gun. Harada, look out! As I spoke, I ran forward, throwing my body in between Harada and the gun. My shoulder exploded with fiery pain as the bullet slammed into it. Thick, dark blood began to flow from it, down the arm of my shirt.
Hey! Chizuru, are you okay?
I'm fine. The wound still hurt, but the pain was already less, and I could feel the ragged hole beginning to close. Please don't be upset about this. Don't be disturbed. He stared, stunned at my shoulder, as the blood slowed, then stopped, and the flesh closed itself. I told you, I'm a demon. I hadn't meant it to sound so miserable, but it was the truth. No matter what I did, how much I pretended to be one of them, I wasn't. Harada and I were different. I wasn't even human.
Well, this is exciting. Time to get serious, then.
The gun in Shiranui's hand barked with shot after shot.
Damn it.
Even if Harada could continue to dodge the bullets and hit Shiranui again, the wound would just heal almost immediately, and the fight was beginning to take its toll on him. Chizuru, you gotta get your sword out and do more stuff. We gotta behead this guy. Harada had started to sweat, and I could see his movements slowing, while Shiranui looked as if he was doing nothing that required more exertion than a relaxing stroll. A bullet cracked against Harada's spear, and it jumped out of his hand.
Looks like it's over.
His face loomed over us as the barrel of his gun trained itself on Harada's head. No, I won't let you!
I'll have to admit, though, you're pretty impressive for a human. So, as a little reward, I'll listen to your last words. Whatever you want to say. A poem might be nice if you could.
He was breathing heavily now, but the fire in his eyes as he stared at Shiranui was undimmed. Harada lowered his voice and whispered,
I can distract him for a couple moments. That should give you enough time to get away.
But this is all my fault!
Man, is it really so hard for you to do what I tell you?
Yes!
I'm not going to let a woman get killed in front of me if I can do anything about it.
Well, I'm not going to let my love die in front of me if I can do anything about it. It broke my heart to think of him throwing away his life like that. But what could I do? What should I do? If I ran, Harada would die. Shiranui had watched our conversation with cool eyes, and as we reached an impasse, he sighed and threw up his hands.
Damn, you're way more boring than I thought. Is this girl demon really that important to you? You say you don't want to watch her die, right? Okay, I'll just kill you both at the same time. Sound good?
I could see his finger tighten on the trigger. This was it. We were going to die.
To think there is someone foolish enough to try and attack the Shinsegumi's headquarters in the middle of a war.
The voice was familiar.
What is it they say? Speak of the devil and he appears. I don't recall anyone speaking of you.
Sano, Chizuru, are you guys alright?
Ugh. He was dull, but you two are worse. This is getting to be a real pain, so I'm going to let you go this time.
He gave Harada one last sneer.
You know what you saw, right? That girl's a monster. You should think long and hard about whether or not she's really worth protecting.
Shiranui grinned, apparently satisfied with Harada's frustration, and turned to me.
You remember the look on his face when your shoulder healed? That's how he really feels. You're a monster, and that's all you'll ever be to these people. They might not say it, but each one of them knows it's in his gut.
You... But he was gone, like a puff of smoke.
Damn it.
Harada pounded his fist into the nearest wall.
What the hell was that? I could barely touch him.
But it seemed like he fought him better before.
Don't beat yourself up. That guy's a monster. You're just a human, Sano. You can't beat something like him. You gotta send a monster to kill a monster. That's why you got us.
Work as a team. Every time he said monster, I felt almost as if someone had struck me.
Idiot. Stop being such a smartass. If you can take him, I'm damn sure I can. What are you calling me an idiot for? I'm just stating a fact.
Heisuke made... So Heisuke thinks he's a monster and he can take care of him? Heisuke made quite a show of acting indignant, but after Harada snorted and turned away, I saw him let out a sigh of relief. Perhaps he'd been concerned that his friend would treat him differently now that he was a fury, but it seemed clear to me that their friendship was more important to Harada than just how human Heisuke was.
Are you alright, Yukimura? There is blood on your shoulder.
Oh, I'm fine. Oh, Sanin. Sanin barely seemed to hear me. His eyes were fixed on my shoulder, and there was a strange look on his face. Oh, don't fury out on me, man.
There's a hole in your shirt, as if a bullet passed through it. Were you shot?
Yes. But now I'm fine.
Amazing. Such superhuman healing. This must be the power of a demon, then.
He was probably just trying to compliment me, but all he did was tear open a wound in my heart that Shiranui had made. It was one wound that even my demon blood couldn't heal.
Just as Heisuke said, no doubt the Fury Core will be key in our fight against the demons. But in order for them to be effective, they must be improved. We must expand their usefulness.
So here's where my blood comes into play again.
Perhaps I could learn something if I examined you. You're special. Don't you want to use these amazing powers you've been given to help your friends?
I do! But could you please use a needle to withdraw the blood? The earnest interest in his voice was almost more terrifying than cruelty could have been, and I felt tears begin to push at the corners of my eyes.
Hey, Sanin, back off a little, okay? She gets to make her own decisions, not you. Yeah, and it looks like she doesn't want you experimenting on her either. Unless it's a really desperate situation or something, I don't think we should try and force people to become Furies if they don't really need to.
Sanin glanced back at Harada and Heisuke and fidgeted with his glasses in irritation.
If you are suggesting Hijikata might have a problem with it, I have no doubt I can convince him. He is an intelligent man. My argument is logical. I'm sure he'll see the wisdom of it. That's not what we're saying.
Wait! Look, I'm going to have to think about it a little, okay? I'll give you an answer later.
I see. Well, I look forward to hearing from you. Don't force yourself to do anything you don't want to. You're a woman, and you're not really a member of the Shinsengumi. Sanin can't make you do anything.
Well, maybe not Sanin, but if he convinces Hijikata, but I don't think Hijikata would do that. Right, because Hijikata cares about us even though we're not on this route. Why can't I say, I'll let Sanin observe me as long as somebody else is present, as long as Harada is present? I knew he was only trying to make me feel better, but hearing him say that I was not truly a member of the Shinsengumi hurt a great deal. In the end, the Fushimi Magistrate's office was engulfed in flames, and the Shinsengumi was forced to leave Kyoto. As chaos spread across the country, various domains grew more opportunistic. Some, such as the Yodo, abandoned the shogunate entirely. What frightened the loyalist domains the most was that the Satsuma and their allies had begun to march under the Imperial Guard standard. The Imperial Battle Standard was proof that the army behind it was carrying out the will of the Imperial Court. Many domains began to worry that they would be considered rebellious or seditious if they opposed the Imperial Army. The Shinsengumi retreated from Kyoto and made for Osaka Castle. Osaka Castle had been built during the Warring States period by Hideyoshi Toyotomi, who had poured all of the experience and expertise gained from a life of attacking and capturing castles into its construction. So it must be quite defensible. It was a nearly impregnable fortress, and from it we could fight for years. Or so we thought. By the time the Shinsengumi arrived at Osaka Castle, Yoshinobu Tokugawa, the shogunate, had already fled for Edo. He abandoned the men fighting for him to save his own skin. Kondo and Hijikata were stunned and demoralized. There was no point to remaining in Osaka if the man they were charged with protecting was elsewhere, so the Shinsengumi made plans to leave for Edo by ship through Osaka Bay. The Battle of Toba Fushimi had claimed the lives of some of the Shinsengumi's most important members. Kind, friendly Inoue had taken a bullet to the stomach and died. Oh, we don't even get a scene for him, and he was so important. And he was a really nice guy. Yamazaki had been injured during the fighting and died on the ship on the way to Edo. Oh my god! This feels so horrible to not even give them scenes at least. Oh, this needed to be more than one game spread out this thing. I mean, I know there's lots of Hakuouki games, but I feel like they could have spread this one out more. Oh, sorry, Chapter 5, January 1868. When we arrived, we were instructed... Oh, actually, I should end the video there. Alright, I really want to read one more video tonight because after that scene, I really want to talk to Harada. Because I feel like we should be having some kind of scene where we find out what Harada thinks of us after he's seen me heal and all. So, yeah, I gotta read one more, and then I'm gonna go back to office hours, so... Alright, so I'm hopping to my next video of the Shinsengumi. I hope to see you there or in some of my other videos, and I'd be so grateful for any likes, comments, subscriptions, or shares with your friends to show some support. Thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you all health, happiness, and safety. Dirili signing out. Bye-bye, everybody.